Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're taking a look at the track Pull Me Through by the British rock duo Royal Blood. This is the second track to be released from their upcoming fourth studio album titled Back to the Water Below, which does release on the 8th of September. It is also the second track we've got to hear from this album after Mountains at Midnight, which certainly sees the band take a bit of a return to their original sound. If they went for something a bit more mainstream almost with Typhoons, these really hooky choruses, these really big sounds that were almost built to fill an arena, similar to bands such as Muse, and now they've decided to kind of go back to the beginnings almost, produce this upcoming album themselves, not have any input from anybody else, and let them make the music that they want to. So will this new way of working pull them through or simply leave them stuck? Let's take a look at exactly how this track sounds.
To the bottom, last but not forgotten. Down I go again, heart swinging like a punch bag, waiting on you to pull it through. Washing off the soft soap, sleeping on a tightrope. Everything to prove, got nothing left to use. Want the truth, I need you to pull it through.
Sorry with this first, I love how we're getting this switch up from the band, letting the piano do a lot of their heavy lifting as opposed to Mike Kerr's bass guitar, which is amped up and pedalled up to the max to often make it sound like an electric guitar. It's one of the things that they've done pretty much since their inception that certainly tricks many people's brains when they learn that it's actually a bass that's providing most of these sounds from the guitar section. But I like how we get this switch up. It has this quite melodic feel, but it's not relying on the bass guitar to do a lot of the heavy lifting, which we have seen in previous tracks, with these winding, etchy sounds that really drag you in and kind of really envelop you. So I like this change in style for the band despite kind of sinking back almost in the chorus, and we can really see this song reflecting around the idea of pressure in a tense submarine where the seams couldn't hold back the shore. The idea that you've got pressure all around you trying to weigh you down, trying to almost crush you on a bed made of what have you done, these outside influences that are really trying to drag you down back to the water below, almost floating like a stone. I like how the visuals are reflecting that as well. It's almost mimicking the idea of certainly sweating profusely almost, or drowning in a vehicle, almost that moment of kind of solitude where you're kind of to yourself but your brain is racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I like how the visuals reflect that very well, and we see this in the chorus: sinking to the bottom, lost but not forgotten, down to go hard again, swinging like a punch bag. So really just taking a beating from the pressure that is constantly being put on you, the idea of sleeping on a tightrope, this kind of fine line where you can fall off at any time, fall into things such as depression, things like that from the pressure. So I really do like that, and I really feel like that last line in the chorus, I need you to pull me through, is that reaching out that hand for help, really wanting someone to kind of help you out in a desperate situation. So we might see that kind of develop as the track progresses.
Sinking to the bottom, last but not forgotten. Down I go again, heart swinging like a punch bag, waiting on you to pull it through. Washing up the soft soap, sleeping on a tightrope. Everything to prove, got nothing left to use. Want the truth, I need you to pull it through.
And I really like how we're getting this development really showing throughout the actual visuals as well. This rising tide almost, that pressure building, really just trying to drown you almost, and just seeing that development. The idea of prayed as I prayed, disarray had its day in the sun. So you're just hoping for someone to really drag you out because you're laying on this bed made of what have you done. I love that switch up on that bed of nails almost, but they changed it to whatever you're under, whatever pressure has been reflected on you can really be the thing that's holding you down. Tone deaf with a headache for one. So you've again shut the world out almost. You've gone tone deaf. You can't hear people really trying to reach out to you, trying to pull you out of a desperate situation. You're just going back to the water below. And I think the water is the perfect metaphor for this track. You can't hear very well underwater. The idea of pressure is something that is often associated with water. So I like how it's fitting in with the theme of the song, with the theme of the album as well. So really everything's revolving around this idea of this almost aquatic situation, but using it to great metaphoric effect.
Tone deaf with a headache for one. Back to the water below, alone as I float like a stone.
I actually really enjoyed the switch up from the band. It's definitely not the sort of track that I was actually expecting to get to hear from them. Really letting the lyrics and the sort of the piano really carry the melody across, really go for a different styling compared to what we have seen from the band over pretty much the past few albums, even on Mountains at Midnight, where we still had these winding, stretching bass guitar sounds, these really kicking drums. It's much softer, much more laid back and much more mellow in its styling, and I do really like the change up. And I also really like how these simple reflections are showing through on this track. The simple idea of really showing that ability to be under pressure. Everyone deals with it, everyone feels it, like sometimes they can't reach out for help. And I like that quite interesting little metaphor in the visuals at the end. The idea of getting a grinder out to try and cut the car open. The simple thing was just that case of opening the door. Often when you're under pressure and you get more and more stuff thrown on top of you, you just need that simple solution, just someone to open the door to relieve some of that pressure almost from the bottle, from the pressure almost, just to let it flood out almost. So I do like how they kind of incorporated that into the end of the track, really showing that very kind of layered under multiple layers of metaphor, but still great to see from the band. And a lot of the lyrics just reflecting around this aquatic idea as well, just focusing on things like soaps, waters, kind of sinking like a stone or trying to float like a stone, which has no ability to do so. So I'm really interested to see how this album is going to be rounded out, because we've certainly got two very different tracks to kick things off, but I still love somehow a lot of the lyrics fit in. I still like we're keeping many of the elements in this track, such as these winding vocals that we really do get coming, that kind of just soothe and sway you in and out. I think it's something the band do very, very well. I mean, especially on Typhoons and other tracks that were included on the album, they're keeping that element in, but really just switching up, going back to an older style and not trying to focus on making too much of a mainstream sound, really doing what they feel is best for them, which is always great to see when an artist kind of goes back to that style. So that'll be everything for today's video, but as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comment section below. Do you like this slightly new style that the band are trying out with this track on this upcoming album, or do you prefer they'd stick to these very heavy bass guitar driven thumping drum style tracks that we have heard from them in the past? I would love to know your thoughts, and as always, if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.